Well, good evening, everyone. Wow, there's a lot of people here tonight. My name is Mark Jeffrey, and I'm here with my co-host Linda Lehman. This is the SMASH 2015 Challenge. We are so happy that y'all could make it here tonight. We did have a few challenges with our meeting room, and I will ensure that that gets corrected for next week. I realize on the reminders, it's just making you re-register all the time, so we have to figure out what happened with that because it shouldn't have done that. So I apologize for that. Thank you all for being so patient and getting here. And just to let other people know that in the event that you weren't able to get in tonight, we will be sending out the recording on this one for sure. So again, this is the SMASH 2015 Challenge. It is a boot camp, so get ready to work. This is session 1, and this is a warm-up. This is the opportunity for Linda and I to get to know you all, and also for you to get to know us. Okay, so I do have, I got to fix something here. There we go. I do have the question and answer panel up. I just switched over to it there. And if you have questions along the way, definitely type them in there, and I'll try to address them as we go along. First of the things that we wanted to do is kind of give you a little bit of information about who we are. And this isn't about us. Okay, we want to give you enough information to let you know that you're in good hands, but this isn't what we've done. This is what we're going to do to be able to help you. Second thing I have to say is my voice is really scratchy. I had a little bit of surgery on my throat, and I'm having a little bit of trouble catching up with myself. So first of all, I'm going to hand this over to Linda Lehman. Linda's my co-partner in a lot of projects that we do, a lot of our consultations with people we do. So I'm just going to let her tell you a little bit about herself, and then I'll jump in later. Linda?
Hey, Mark, and I'm going to apologize that the challenges today continue. If I'm breaking up, I am so sorry. We have a complete area-wide telephone outage with my telephone service, and so I am calling in via my cell phone. But you know what? Whatever works.
We can do it.
We can. The good news is 15 minutes ago the internet finally came back up. But no, I am here with you, and as you said, we enjoy doing projects together. I found and started following my purpose many years ago. I became licensed as a life success consultant by Bob Proctor. I continue to be mentored by Bob Proctor. We specialize, and I love talking with people about their human potential and their ability to master their own mindset. I've also worked in healthcare for over 30 years, working with business startups, physician startups, and really helping to train and mentor leaders in the healthcare industry. And I'm also a wife of over 30 years, a mother of 2 beautiful daughters, and I have a grandson who calls me Nana, and I am a cancer slayer. So that's my story, and I don't want to talk too much about myself because, as you said, Mark, this is about the people that have come here because they want to make a huge difference in their lives. So over to you, my friend.
All righty. So here we go. Everything's stuck. Okay, nothing's working, obviously, because that's just the way it's going tonight. There we go. So me, okay, I was, and still to this day, I'm a speaker, motivational speaker. I work with the Tony Robbins Foundation. Prior to that, I was one of the production managers. This year, I'm going to be one of the trainers. You guys have probably seen this out there with the Core 100 program that we have. I work online. That's what I do. And I multiple 6-figure earner. In the last couple of years, $1 million working online. So when you want to know how to do those kinds of things, we're going to be sharing that with you as well as I do corporate sales training, and I own a little business. So that's about me. What we come together to do. Oh yeah, and I'm a mom and I'm a cancer slayer too. Let's not forget that. But together we have the yin and the yang of things. And that's why when people come to most of our trainings, they get the benefit of both of who we are, our strengths. And it's been an amazing journey for us to go through our learning curve, helping other people make it through their learning curve. Because each and every one of you are individuals. And I want you to remember that. You're not going to be the same as me or Linda or the guy next door or anybody. You're an individual. And you're going to grow and become that individual. And I know from my perspective, I think when you try to be too much like other people, like fitting in, that's when most of you find that you struggle the most, because you have this inherent want to be an individual and be unique and be seen. And then on the other hand, you try to hide behind everyone else, which doesn't normally work very well. So this being a challenge, we are going to kind of stretch you a little bit. We're going to push your limits a little bit. Tonight is a very laid-back, relaxed event. But as we go through this, we are going to be expecting things from you. And we want you to stay up with it. We want you to challenge yourself. So Linda, the first thing that we know that is very important in our lives, and for many, many different reasons, but that's journaling. So I'm going to hand it off to you about the major importance about letting it out.
Oh, absolutely, Mark. Thank you so much. I would be completely lost without my journal. And I have to tell you, I think it's important for us to share some of our learning curves along the way. When I first started down my path of really paying attention to personal growth and really wanting to learn, because I started down this path way back in 1994. It's when I could pinpoint it, but I wasn't committed at that point in time. So I would stop and I would start, and I would stop and I would start in my learning process. But once I actually started learning the importance of just putting it out there, putting my thoughts, putting my feelings, just writing anything I wanted to in my journal, and it didn't have to be perfect sentences. At first, I think that was probably one of my challenges, is because I could hear my 6th grade English teacher in my head telling me that I had to form the sentence structure this way. The journal is not about that. The journal is about you. It's about getting all those thoughts and things running through your mind down on paper, because once you put it down on paper, then you can either release it, or it can inspire you to take additional action. So even though you may not know or understand the 100% purpose at this point in time, one of the challenges that we want to give you is get yourself a journal. And it doesn't have to be leather bound or anything like that. At first, if you need to start off with just a notebook, start off with a notebook. Just make sure it has some pages in it. Get yourself a journal and begin to form a habit of writing in that journal every day. Now, Mark, one of the things that we want all of our students to begin with in their journal. So if you don't know where to start, we're going to give you the beginning. And Mark, that beginning is at the start of every single day. We want you to write in your journal 5 things that you are grateful for. And, I can help you out here. Either start your sentence with, I am grateful for, or I am grateful that, or you can even start it with, I appreciate, and then finish it out from there. 5 things every single day. The very first thing you do. So see, there's no excuse. You can't say, I'm staring at a white page, I don't know what to write. Yes, you do. You put today's date on there, and then number 1, and then number 2, I am grateful for. And as you write this, it's very important for you to also get into the feeling of gratitude. Get into the feeling of why you're grateful for whatever it is that you put down there. Now, Mark, I know that you've heard this before. Some people say, well, golly, my life is so low that I'm not sure I can think of 5 things that I'm grateful for every single day. And my answer to you is, yes, you can. If you have a roof over your head right now, you can be grateful for that. I know that some places that where people are listening in, it's wintertime and it's very cold, and you're sitting in your warm house, you can be grateful for the heat. You can be grateful that the sun is shining today. You can be grateful that you woke up this morning. Sit down and just put some thought into it and start writing down what you're grateful for. And do this every single day. And if you think, oh, well, I've got to travel, take your journal with you. It's not that big. Take it with you. There's always time to journal. Even if you have to set your alarm 15 or 20 minutes earlier to get up before anybody else in your family, do it. This little step, you may think it seems insignificant. This little step is so important, and it will begin to set the stage for your day. So this is a boot camp. This is your first assignment. Get a journal. First 5 things every day in your journal. This is what I'm grateful for.
And what's going to happen, I know many of you, like Linda said, I started, writing things down at one point, and then I kind of got good in my life. And it was funny because when I started, like many of you are starting right now, I started from a point in my life where I wasn't very happy. There was a lot of things going in my life. And for me, I was kind of writing down the things that were bothering me. I would write them down so I had a place to put them so they weren't flying around in my mind, muddling up my thoughts, and all of those things. But just like Linda said, you know what happens when you do that all the time? If that's all you're focused on, you just keep traveling down that path. You really do. And it's funny because I just did a talk on this very morning about Facebook and how people get up in the morning and they're really having a great morning. Got my coffee, I've got some stuff going on, and they open up the Facebook and they read all of these horrible things that happen to people, and then boom, they're down in the dumpster again. And we're going to be talking about external things throughout this process as well. But gratefulness, again, I do that. I have a little teeny-weeny notebook, and it sits on my bedside, so it doesn't take up very much room, and a little pen that's there. And that's what I do every single morning when I wake up. I go, first thing I write is, yep, still breathing. Because, like it or not, that's a big deal. Because some people are not going to get up, right? So still breathing, still have 5 fingers or 10 fingers, 10 toes. It can be that simple, but it reframes your thinking. And what we're talking about tonight to all of you is how you're going to reframe your brain to think differently. So all of these steps are important. Now, the other thing is once you've got that done, then you're going to start focusing on one thing, only one thing, that you have a challenge. And it could be anything. It doesn't matter what it is, but I'm going to tell you this. If you're laying there just now, when I said that, whatever popped into your head, that one thing is the thing that's stopping you. So write it down. And this isn't the time right now to solve the issue. We're not working that way. You have to reframe your mind to look at things differently so that the things that are challenging you come at you in a different format to be able to deal with it, manage it, and then move from it. So It's not the time to say, well, well, well. It's just a time to identify it and just write it in your journal. So Linda, Bob Proctor, you know, he's somebody that I highly respect because he is of this whole entire thing. You know, the things that we manifest, we grow in our lives. And I know a lot of people think it's a hokey pokey, but let's look at it this way. If it was a hokey pokey, do you think Tony Robbins or Bob Proctor or all of these guys in the personal development world would actually be making the kind of money that they are? So Linda, tell me a little bit about the processes that you went through while you were going through this discovery for yourself and how they can utilize that.
Oh, absolutely. And sometimes it's not easy to put your finger on why things are changing, because what you're going to find as you go through this process is that maybe a light bulb goes on for you, and you follow our process step by step by step, and all of a sudden wonderful things start happening. You start getting ever closer to the dreams and goals that you have. Well, somebody else that may be doing this with you, and they're, to your mind's eye, to your vision, they're following the same steps you are, but they're not getting the results that you're getting. And so that was actually one of the key things that kind of puzzled even Bob Proctor for several years before he discovered what was going on. And you know, so many people try to tackle things just looking at the external environment around them. Or maybe they look around them and they say, well, this is my life because this is what's happening. And when they try to make a change, they try to change what's going on outside of themselves. In other words, if you don't like your job, you think, oh, if I just change jobs, then that's going to make a big difference in my life. And that's not exactly true, because I love that picture. What's going on outside of you is external crap, and actually it's the effect. It's your result. And as long as you're focusing on that result or that effect or that external crap, then that's what you're going to be thinking about. And the miraculous thing is you're going to get more of the same, because the external stuff around you, Mark, is not what's causing the issue. We have to get to the root cause, and it took me several years, just as
you are now muted,
for several years, to realize what that root cause is. And it's not your behavior, it's not your actions, because those are a byproduct of the cause. The cause is in your thinking. It's what you're thinking and how you're feeling about it. If you could kind of picture an iceberg, you see what's on the surface. But what you don't see is bigger. It's the invisible piece. It's bigger than anything on the surface. And what's underneath that, underneath the surface of that iceberg, that's where the magic is happening. You know, it was the piece of the iceberg underneath the water that pretty much got the Titanic. It wasn't what you could actually see visibly in the external that actually caused the issue. So it's kind of like a progressive thing. You think thoughts, you feel feelings. Those feelings have to be expressed, and the only avenue that those feelings have is through your physical body. So if you want to make a change, and this is what this boot camp is all about, we go to that root cause. We have to go all the way back. And we have to take a close look at and be aware of what you're thinking and what you're feeling about, because that's where the change is going to start. So one of the very first things that we need to do, as you said, is start writing down the challenges, identify that external crap. Because in the end, that stuff has no bearing on you as a person. You know, somebody could say, I'm bankrupt. Somebody could say, because I'm bankrupt or they foreclosed in my house, then I'm unworthy. I'm just I'm ridiculous. No, you're not. The fact is, okay, you went bankrupt. The fact is, okay, your house was foreclosed upon, but that doesn't make you a bad person. That's your opinion. That's your self-image. It has nothing to do with what's going on right here and right now.
And I think it's easy for people to slide into that because we look, when things don't go right for us, we look for sympathy, and it's a coping mechanism. And for the most part, there's really nothing wrong with that. When I have a bad day, yeah, I'll connect with Linda, and I'm going, okay, I'm kicking cans around here. Sometimes we do need support for that, and then the other person will, say it's okay. Things will get better for you. But if inside your head, when someone says that to you, you have no hope, you're just going, yeah, right, yeah, things will be good for you. These are the things that we're talking about tonight, the changes that you have to make in your thinking, because there is no hopelessness. I mean, it just doesn't exist. And when we say to you, what you can conceive in your mind can be a part of what your life is, it's absolutely true. But here's the thing. If you conceive in your mind that it is hopeless for you, then that's exactly what it's going to be, because you will never take any steps, not one step, outside of that to find something that gives you hope. You're just going to keep throwing more trash on your head. And as a people, as human beings, and particularly the women we have here tonight, because we have many, many women that are taking this boot camp, y'all have to stand up and be proud of who you are and where you've come from and where you've been. And that's another key that the journal's going to do for you. Because as we move through this, you're not going to see the subtle little differences that's happening in your life, because they are going to be subtle. You might not even notice them at first. But at the end of 30 days, we're going to ask you to go back and reread your journal. And you are going to see for yourself just how amazing the journey has been for you in 30 days. And then we're going to walk past that. So these things are so important. But people, I don't know, Linda, why do you think it is that people just don't pick up that pen? They just don't grab that hand that's being held out. Why do you think people do that?
Well, I think part of it is fear, which is an emotion I know we're going to tackle in this boot camp. And they don't believe in themselves. They believe that maybe somebody else can be helped or somebody else can succeed, but they can't. And that goes back to our subconscious mind, which is where our emotions sit. That's where our feelings lie. But that's also where, and I know that there's definitely not going to be time tonight to talk about this, because this is like an hour in and of itself. This is where our old habits live, our paradigms, things that have been ingrained in our subconscious mind since we were real little. And those are the things that come up in trying to protect us, block us, and stop us from moving toward our magnificent future. And once we can identify and be aware of that, and actually by identifying your challenges, you're going to start to see this pattern. You're going to start to be able to identify these paradigms, these old habits, this old conditioning, so that you can actually move it and put it into make it something that can serve you better. In other words, we're going to help you change your opinion of yourself, because you're not going to be able to outperform your own self-image. So we need to identify that, the self-image that you want, and then we need to make certain that you believe, even if you're just believing in our belief in you right now, you believe that something better can come of this. So
that something is possible. Just the possibility of it. If that's all you have tonight, is just maybe this is possible for me, you've come a long way from the moment that we started this program here tonight, this boot camp. You've already come a long way.
Exactly. There's a story, Mark, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think this is a good time to put this in. Another mentor of mine that I follow is Mary Morrissey.
Mm-hmm.
And, she came into her being through, there were a series of bad things that had happened in her life, but at one point, I think she was still in her 20s, she found herself in the hospital. She'd been diagnosed with some horrible kidney disease. They told her that this operation that she was going to undergo to remove one of her kidneys is just going to buy her some time because the other kidney was also infected. And so here she was, a brand new mother, and she was only in her 20s, and it looked like she was facing a not very bright future. And someone came into her room. It was one of the clergy of the hospital, very forward-thinking person. And so she was asked Mary a few questions, and then she said, could you believe that if you just put your mind to it tonight, could you believe that in the morning when you woke up that this disease could be gone out of your body? And, of course, Mary said no. No, they've told me this gloom and doom story. And so the other person backed up and they said, okay, I understand. Could you believe in the possibility that once they remove your right kidney, it will remove all of the disease out of your body and your left kidney will be just fine? Could you believe in that possibility? And that was enough for Mary. She said, I think I could believe in the possibility that if they remove this right kidney, then everything will be fine. And so she put her hopes and she put her belief in just that possibility. And then that's where miracles happen, Mark, because after she left the hospital, she continued to have tests done. And because she truly believed, she pushed aside all of her doubts. She truly believed in the possibility that her other kidney would be fine once they got the right kidney out. It was. And she is still living and vibrant today in sharing her message and sharing the possibility of brighter futures for everyone. So I just wanted to share that because I think it's so important as we move forward.
It is important. And you hear, I know all of you have heard of things of other people. And I know you probably have said, that's for other people. It will never work for me. And you're wrong. There's no other way to say you're wrong.
Yeah.
You're
this is a boot camp. We need to be brutally honest.
You're just wrong. The thing is you don't have to have the faith in yourself. Okay? And sometimes you do have to have the faith in something else. And I get that. So, that's why, okay, and we'll just very quickly drift into this because I don't want to run too far into this angle either. But that's why when, you might get sick. Okay, I never get sick, okay? I've had cancer and that pretty much used up all my sick limit for my life. But I don't get a cold, I don't get flus, I don't feel run down because I tell my body all the time, look, we don't have time for this. You got to get your act together and fight this. Like if I'm feeling a little punky, and you all know what that is, a couple of days before really you might come down with something, kind of off your game a little bit. Well, as soon as I start feeling that, I know what's going to be, if I let this go, then, I'm going to be sick. So I have that understanding, but that's not going to be me. So when you're thinking about things, that's all you got to say is that's not going to be me. And if it is you right now today, you can still say that's not going to be me tomorrow. That's not going to be me at 10 o'clock tonight. You can still say those things. And I'm going to tell you this. Your body and your mind, once it understands where you want to go, pretty bloody smart. It knows how to fix things, knows how to do things. Maybe you're overeating because you're sad and things aren't going your way. Well, we have to tackle the sadness, not the eating. You see, people go about things the wrong way. You're sad. So you got to fix that before you can go on Dr. Bernstein's diet, because that diet will never work. And that's what we're here tonight to tell you about. It's tiny little steps, but it's that belief that a possibility that your life can be truly amazing. If you can just for this night, just go with us on this and believe in that possibility. Your life is already changing. Things inside your subconscious mind and your body are right now. You're saying that to yourself. You're saying it. And that's when we're leading into meditating, because this is going to be really important for you right now as you move yourself out of the space that you don't want to be in and start shimmying over to the good space that you want to be in. And let's talk a little bit about meditation, because most people, again, think that, oh, hokey pokey, the little guru sitting with his legs crossed. I don't do that. I meditate actually while I'm out walking down by the river. I just sit down and listen to nature happen to me. And that's what I do. So, Linda, talk a little bit more about that.
Oh, absolutely. Some people have told me, when I mentioned the word meditating or meditation, they get a funny look on their face, as Mark said, or they think it's hokey pokey. So if the word meditation rubs you wrong right now because you don't know how to allow that in yet, that's fine. What we would suggest that you do is take a time out. Take some time for you, 15 minutes of me time, 15 minutes of relaxation time. That's what we're asking you to do. And Mark is right. There's no right or wrong way to meditate. You don't have to sit there with your back straight and your legs crossed. I don't know that. That's uncomfortable for me.
I'd never get up again.
I know. I choose to be comfortable, sitting up, sitting in a chair or laying down or whatever works for me. Wayne Dyer jokes around. He said, you can meditate while you sit at a stoplight. Don't worry about the time, because somebody behind you is going to honk their horn.
Yeah, they're going to let green again. They're going to let you know. Yeah, somebody's going to let you know. It's interesting. I got to jump in here for just a second. Somebody had just, we have our question and answer thing open, and I was just looking at this. And we said this out loud, this is not going to be me. They said, well, wouldn't it be this is going to be me? Okay, so the paradigm shift that we're making here tonight is that some of you are at a level where you're in that spirit and you can do that. Others of you are not there yet. So it's going to be, you have to make the determination that it's not going to be you before you can determine what is going to be you. So that's kind of the distinction we were going for here. So Linda, meditate, my dear.
Absolutely. After I tag team onto that, if you really want to recognize where you are now, you can say that. I have been this kind of person or that kind of person, or I felt that way up until now.
Mm-hmm. Up until right now.
Yeah, that's going to set the stage for you to tell your brain next, I'm making a change. And that can also start the process. It's a little bit more subtle, but it can start the process. So back to meditating. It's important to do this on a daily basis. It's important to take a time out to just relax and be. When you carve out the time to meditate, it's very important that you close off all distractions. Close off all that crap. Close your office door, turn off the phone, log out of Facebook. If you're listening to soft music, which I highly recommend, it helps you get focused. Put your phone on airplane mode so that you won't be tempted to answer a text message or a phone call. But this is just for you to totally relax. And at first, we're not asking you to totally blank out your mind to where you're not thinking anything. Because what's going to happen if we give that assignment to you right now, unless you have been meditating for a while, you're going to be frustrated within the first minute because you're not going to be able to shut off on the chatter. All we're asking you to do is to be quiet and just focus on breathing in and breathing out, and breathing in and breathing out. And as thoughts float through your mind, which they're going to do, and that's okay, what we're asking you to do is don't grab a hold of any thought and start down that thought train. Just recognize the thought, oh, yeah, I see you. You can float on by. Just kind of picture them as thoughts riding on fluffy clouds that are just floating through your mind, and just let them float. Now then, if something that makes you feel really good and brings this feeling of joy inside, if you want to kind of look at that particular cloud for just a little bit longer to continue to feel that feeling of joy, that's awesome. Go ahead and do that. But again, then just let it go. And we want you to do this to begin with at least a minimum of 15 minutes a day. And if you're like some people and think, okay, I'll sit down and do this, and then you start wondering how long it's been, set a timer. You've done that too,
everybody, that was Julia Roberts, right? And that I can't remember the name of the show there.
Live, what is it? Live, love,
pray, love, live, whatever it was.
Pray, I don't know. Pray, love, eat. I don't know.
Yeah, eat, love, pray. Well, anyway,
yeah, there you go.
what she was doing. But that was the thing, remember? And I mean, if you watch that, that's exactly what you're going to be like. At first, you're kind of like, I can't do this. I can't quiet my mind. We're not asking you actually to quiet your mind. That's coming up. But what we want you to do is just gaze upon all of the amazing thoughts that you have, and pinpoint when you see the joyful ones. It's oftentimes when we're at the end of our yoga class, and we take 20 minutes just to do that, set the music and that. How many people start laughing in meditation because they're just thinking of something joyful and funny, and and you can release all of that. But that also, in as so much as if you've had a bad day, that's going to relax you a little bit and allow you to maybe even sleep through the night. Many people we know that we coach every day, they're on sleeping pills and pain medication because they can't get comfortable and stuff. And so that is why we're just right now allowing you to be free with yourself. Don't put any constraints on you right now. Like in that journal and in your meditation, just let it all out. Let it all go. If you're angry, pound it out in the journal. Go for it. Go for it. Right? If you're meditating at the end of that day, then do it. Love it. Right?
Exactly. And you know what? After you come out of your meditation, your alarm goes off or whatever happens, have your journal handy and write down what thoughts caught your attention, how you felt, or maybe even an aha moment. I get a lot of great ideas and aha moments that come out of meditation. Write those down, because if you think to yourself, oh, I'll remember that later, that's for sure. No, not so much. Write it down.
Yep, for sure. And here's something that, has always helped me in my entire life doing something, and that is forgiving myself. And I know we didn't put this on a slide tonight for you guys, but that's one of the biggest things that we really have to do as human beings is forgive ourselves. and forgive other people that have hurt us. We'll carry around all that stuff. Write that in your journal. You know, what are the things that I'm holding against myself and maybe holding against other people that is stopping me from going forward? And, you know, sometimes we'll feel, because I know I can hold a grudge. I can. But when I write it in my journal and I think about it, I have to laugh at myself, like, how childish is that, Mark? And what did that do to you? You think that person cares that you're mad at them? They don't care. And they're probably laughing at you. But, you know, this is the thing. We have to learn that part of this. We want you to be free tonight and for this week, just writing everything down and taking some time to meditate. I know some of you are going to have to, you know, get a babysitter even to get away from the kids for that amount of time. Do it. Ask a girlfriend or a guy friend to come over and just maybe be with the kids just for 15 minutes so you can take a walk or even sit in your car, relax the seat back, put on some soothing music, and think about your life and all the amazing things that are going on. And in so much as if it is you in the car and the kids and all that stuff, be grateful that they're there and they're amazing children and that they also have you being that amazing mother or father. Like, this is going to get a very raw place in your lives if you do this right. And remember, this is a boot camp. We expect to see and feel and hear from you. There's no exceptions to this. You got to do this. And Linda, what's after you go through this whole process, the last thing that we really want you to do on a daily basis throughout this next week is
to write down in big fat letters in your journal at the end of every day all of your successes. The big ones, the small ones, the ones that barely caught your attention. Write that down and celebrate it. In other words, celebrate your wins. Celebrate those little successes because those little successes are going to turn into big successes. But you need to recognize, because so many times we get down on ourselves, recognize those little achievements because you're sending a message to your body. You're sending a message to the universe that you want more of that. And the more things that you celebrate, the more things are going to come to you for you to celebrate. So do this with passion. Do it with excitement. Do a little happy dance. Do whatever you need to do. But also, that's one of the last things that you're going to write in your journal before you go to bed, so that you're going to go to sleep that night with this awesome feeling of achievement, and it's going to carry you into the next morning.
It surely will. And you know that little thing, like find a penny, pick it up, all the day you'll have good luck?
Mm-hmm.
There's more significance in that. And why do you think they didn't pick $1? Because sometimes people think that pennies are worthless, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was way back, whatever century it was that way of making you feel that even if it's a penny, it brings luck. It's even if. So when we talk about little insignificant things, the little penny of your life, it can bring you luck. And when you acknowledge that and you understand that, when you know that you are worth it, you won't stop for less than that worth. And man, I don't know, Linda, if we can just get people to believe that. I mean, we're going to be talking about business and a whole lot of other things as we go through this sessions of and to bring you to different aspects of your life. But gosh darn it, we have gotten so many emails from you participants, and we feel how insignificant that some of you are, and you're not. You're just not, because here I go again, you're wrong.
Mhm. You are wrong. You know, the opinion that you have of yourself will absolutely always be reflected in your world around you. And it's going to manifest in those results that you get and that you achieve in life. But keep in mind this: the opinion that you have of yourself, your self-image, is just that. It's an opinion. And as with any opinion, you can change that opinion any time you choose. And with this boot camp, we're giving you permission to change that opinion. And the cool thing is, you don't have to change it by yourself because we're here to help you.
Exactly. You know, the more that you communicate with us, the more that you tell us what you need, we're going to be able to respond with things that you need. This is very intimate. We didn't ask for 1,000 people. We cut this off so that we knew that if people were emailing us and talking back and forth on our Facebook pages and stuff like that and asking questions, that we would be addressing them in this boot camp. This boot camp is for you. But here's the thing. We've given you some homework tonight. And you got to do it. You got to be in this to win this. Because this is going to identify you to us. Are you just here going, yeah, whatever? Listen, I was that person too. I had gone to a couple of personal development things, and I'm going, yeah, okay, whatever. And I wasn't at a place in my life where I think it really mattered. Linda, you kind of did a couple of do-overs too. It wasn't
absolutely.
It wasn't until it's like the need met the passion to do. I guess that's the best way I can put it.
Ooh,
I'm hoping you understand that.
I love that. You know, I've spent thousands of dollars on programs and coaching that have really just grown dust on the shelf. And it wasn't until I made the commitment to myself and I realized I was worth it that the change really started happening.
Yeah. You're worth it. Like, you have to have that value in yourself. And I know when you're down and you can't even see up, you're so far down, that's going to be a difficult journey. But we're here. Linda's here. I'm here. We're here. And we're going to help you through that, whatever it is, because we made a commitment to do this boot camp and stay the course for each and every one of you that are here. But here's the thing. You don't do anything at all. That's going to be a really lonely road. And pretty much we're going to see you back here, same place you were last year. Nothing's going to happen unless you take the first little step. And guess what that was? Come in here. Come in here. I have the most amazing life because I choose to have the most amazing life. I was a shy person when I was younger. I wasn't the brainiac. I wasn't the beauty of the class. I was the average person. I was just the average person. But I didn't want to be there. I wanted to be extraordinary. And it took me most of my life to kind of get here. You know, I picked things that I could shine at. I dropped off friends and different things that, you know, I couldn't compare to. Right? And I bet you all have friends like that too, right? I'll never compare to her. She's so awesome. You might want to step out of that until you're that awesome inside your own self. Because that's just dragging you down too. And you lose friends along the way. You do, because you grow out of them. You lose jobs because, well, you grow out of them. Loss is happening to you every day. But what's the biggest problem we have, Linda? That big bag of crap they keep dragging around with them.
Mhm. Absolutely, Mark. It's time to dump the crap. It's time to realize that the crap does not define you. And that's what I was trying to get at earlier. And as a matter of fact, I put it out on layman's terms today. You're not your job.
Nope.
You're not your bank account. You're not your failed business. You're not the uneducated person. You are a magnificent human being. And it's about time that you tapped into that magnificence and start living the life that you want to live.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. Mark's going to be mean. If you don't start doing something, then it's your fault.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. 100% responsibility is on your shoulders. So you have ways. You have a way to reach out to us. You registered for this boot camp. You received emails from Mark. You received emails from me. We expect to hear back from you. If you can't remember our email, I know that you have all found us on Facebook. So send us a message on Facebook. You don't have to do a big broadcast. You can send a private PM. That's okay. But the homework, we expect you to do it. So if you don't remember, just a quick rundown, it was to get a journal. Write in it every day. The first 5 things in that journal on a daily basis are going to be the 5 things that you're grateful for. The next thing in that journal is going to be the number 1 thing that pops into your head when you ask yourself what you're challenged with today. You're going to write down your thoughts and feelings about your meditation after you do that, which meditating is another assignment. And then at the end of the day, you're going to write down your successes and your achievements, and you're going to celebrate those. That's your homework, and we want to hear from you. We want to hear how it's going. And we also expect to have you back here, same time, same place next week.
Absolutely. So this is just the beginning. This is the beginning of an amazing journey that you're going to take with us. We're going to give you the tools. We're going to give you the ear, and we'll allow you for, I don't know, about 20 minutes to feel sorry for yourself, and then you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's it. Then you're done. And now you're going to be the new you. It's a brand new year. You got everything going for you. If you can believe that, you're well on your way. But we both know, both Linda and I know, that some of you who sit in there right now are going, yeah, easy for you to say. Trust me, we've been through shit in our lives, and we've come through it.
We're recording this.
Yeah, well, you know me.
It's okay. It was appropriate.
Yeah, well, we've been there. We've done that. We've earned the stripes. We've got the scars. We can do it because I told you before, I'm an average human being. And that means you can do this. Now, we also, the last couple of minutes here, we do have, if you look at the top of your thing, I think Linda's on the top left, there's a question and answer thingy there. If any of you have any questions or anything that we weren't quite clear on or you're not quite clear on, then now is the time. You can just type it in there. We're not going to say your name out loud. We won't do that. Just type it in there. It'll pop up on my side, and then I can and we can help you with that. If you got anything right now that's barring your path, then let us know what that is right now, and we'll see if there's something. If what you think we've said tonight is something that's not going to help you. If you have a different question, anything, that's what we're here for. So I'm just going to check that. And if not, what we're going to do is let the kids out of the cage and allow you to go out there and perform a miracle.
And it'll be your miracle.
Yeah, yeah. You know, doubt. Yeah, doubt is a belief killer. But we all have doubt, right? We all want to follow. Gosh, and I know that this is going to be an awesome trip because we all want to follow. And what we're going to change you from being is that follower to the guy at the front going, no, come on, let's just jump. You're going to be that. I promise you, you're going to be that. You can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't as long as you hang on to the doubt. But when you release that and realize that you really can accomplish anything that you put your mind to, then you are the leader out there saying, oh, we're going to make this trail, and we're going to make our own circumstances.
You betcha. And if you go to whentheshifthitsthefan.com, if any of you are struggling with specific things like that fear and that doubt and believing in yourself, we have so many videos on there. They're just half-hour little videos that you can skip through if you want, just to get the juicy parts. And there's tons of it on our site, and we've been loading those up for the last couple of years. So you're going to find a lot of information there. That, you know what, if during the week and we're not here till next Monday, and you need a little extra boost, just jump over to that site and pick something that you're challenged with right now, and go for it. Just listen to that, and we'll be there throughout the week. But if you need some specific stuff, for sure, let us know. Find us on our sites, on our Facebook pages, wherever you happen to find us. We're going to be there for you. So we are right at the top of the hour. I want to say thank you very much for all of you for being so courageous and having so much bravery to come here and lay bare so that you can be a better you. So Linda, that's what I have for tonight.
Awesome, Mark, and I want to express my gratitude as well for all of the students who have come. Personal growth is a choice, and you've made an amazing choice, and we're here for you the entire journey. So you don't have to do it alone.
Nope. No one here is ever alone. So from Mark here up in Canada tonight, good night, everybody.
And from Linda down here in Florida, good night.